pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of
United
America,
States of America,
to the republic
to
for
the
which it
republic,
stands,
which is
one nation,
one
under
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and
with liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
oh yeah, why don't I pass it along?
This meeting is being recorded.
Sorry.
Recording does not constitute the official minutes of this meeting.
Thank you. Any revisions to the agenda? None? Okay, move on to public comment non-agenda items. Are we starting with,
I mean, maybe we can start with Heather has a public comment on a non-agenda item, and then we can, because the other ones are gonna be a little bit
Yeah.
longer, I
Yeah.
think, so.
yeah,
The floor is
start
yours.
with you, Heather, please.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair. My name is Heather Morris, and I sent Dr. Shipman an email earlier today, but I just wanted to read it for all of you, so you are all in the know. Now that SB 260 has been signed into law by Governor Gianforte, we would like to formally inform you of our desire to transfer into the Big Sky School District 72 and have the district boundaries match that of the Big Sky Resort Area District. We recognize while the reconciliation payments are a win for our school, the goal has always been to join the district, vote for initiatives that impact the district, have our tax dollars benefit the district our children attend. We will be informing the Ennis School District, the Madison County Commissioners, and the Madison County Attorney of our intent to leave once you, hopefully, confirm that you will accept our joining of BSSD. And it's signed by Matt and myself, the Fairs, the Woodmans, the Sheeans, the Smiths, Colteas, Sigourney, O'Connors, James, and Vandermolen families.
Great.
And I have copies of this.
And I gave Corky a copy for the official
Okay.
minutes too.
Perfect. Great. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Heather. Okay, we also have Deborah Tookman from the Tookman Family Foundation that would like to present a short kind of synopsis of our, they kind of help people with shifting schools to cell phone free policies and whatnot. They have supplied some reading material with us too, I think through our library and whatnot. So I'd like to open that up to Deborah. And Deborah, if we keep it to 3 to 5 minutes, does that work?
Maybe. I won't even go that long.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us and taking the time. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate this opportunity, and thank you so much for allowing me to advocate for our thoughts here. My name is Deborah Tuckman. As said, that I'm here to advocate that the Big Sky School District consider going to bell phone free for across the entire school district. Yes, you have the reading material Anxious Generation, and I think if you take some time or even a few minutes to thumb through or read a few pages, I think you'll see how urgent this matter is to take care of the well-being of our youth. There are so many. There are a couple schools here that have done it. They've reaped great success quickly. The bottom line is that these phones that are in our kids' hands are distracting them from focusing on their schoolwork. And I'm advocating bell to bell because when you allow the students to have the phone when they're changing classes or at lunch, then you're inhibiting from the benefits of the social emotional learning that takes place in building relationships and friendships. Those are mostly really outside the classroom. The Boulder Valley School District, very large district, did it here. They decided in September, they implemented in January of 2025. The biggest surprise was how quickly they saw improvement in focus, in grades, in attention, in social interactions amongst the students, and their overall reporting of their own well-being. We all know the rates of anxiety and depression are skyrocketing for a good number of our youth. And the bottom line is that social media and phones are having a very large negative impact in that for our kids. And it's a battle. I know everyone feels it because I talk to a lot of people. And the bottom line is that taking these devices out of our kids' hands during this entire school day actually has such a positive effect on their well-being. And it's doable. It has to be enforced. And I would say that's about it. I'm here to advocate that the Big Sky School District do it, be a leadership school in this effort. Maybe other areas, other districts across your state will follow your lead. And I keep saying there's really no downside. There's no learning curve. It's free, but it needs to be across the school district because other kids don't like to hear that other kids in another school have that possibility. And it needs to be everyone, and it needs to be enforced. Like I said, I think you'll find that the impact is significant and positive and quickly. So I thank you very, very much for allowing me this time today. And I urge you all to take action and support these efforts.
Great, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
No.
Great. No, I think hopefully this is going to be a pretty easy decision for us all. So
One more thing, we do have ability to help you find materials and groundwork to help you implement if you were to so decide to do that. There's toolkits available. You wouldn't be the first school, and I think it would be really helpful towards your making these moves.
perfect. Thank you, Deborah. We'll definitely be in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
your time.
it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Good day. Thanks.
You too.
So we'll have a short discussion on this later, but I think Ashley, unless you want to wait until then, you can also address during public comment, unless you'd like to wait for 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
I can be really quick.
Please.
Okay.
She's got a timer and everything.
Yeah.
And I am just gonna read what I jotted down so I can stay real on point. I'm Ashley Jenks. I've been teaching in the district for 13 years. I could not be more proud of our school district and all that we offer students in rural Big Sky, Montana. But I came here today to share with you that our students are at a disadvantage when it comes to the learning environment in our schools. How can this be? We have top-tier facilities, an outrageously supportive PTO. We have ski racks on our school buses. We send kids to Ivy League schools, and might I say, we have the best hot lunch in the state, if not the country. However, if you had the opportunity to be a fly on the wall in our hallways, classrooms, and learning spaces, you'd likely observe student engagement fractured by the constant psychological demand of personal smartphones. You might be aware of the governor's call in August, this past August, for phone-free schools, but he's not the first one to take notice. New research and the March 2024 release of a riveting book entitled The Anxious Generation, and the subtitle is really gut-wrenching, right? The subtitle is How the Great Rewiring of Childhood is Causing an Epidemic of Mental Illness, by Jonathan Haidt, has prompted national and global leaders to respond. So in the last few years, lots of states have implemented policies restricting or banning cell phone use in schools, and also several countries, with France, the Netherlands, and Italy being frontrunners. In 23, Australia banned cell phones, banned phones in schools bell to bell, blanket bans, they call it. As you'll encounter in the agenda today, our BSSD staff is largely in support of phone-free school policies, and for good reason. Efforts to confront this issue have already been underway this school year, and so I'd like to tell you about some. Our libraries have hosted a BSSD community book study on the anxious generation. We've gotten copies in the hands of parents and teachers. Our book club recently launched a grassroots effort for individual room parents to coordinate grade level parent link-ups to engage in dialogue around a play-based childhood versus a screen-based childhood. In November, our LPHS students rallied around No So November, pledging no social media for the month. And just last week, our elementary celebrated Screen-Free Week, highlighting the brain science behind digital detoxing. And we actually had lessons in the media center about brain health, even down to kindergarten classes, which the kids really enjoyed. I think putting the why behind it really helped them understand and gave them purpose. So one thing that's really important for school decision makers to understand, and I just love what Deborah said, is that implementing a phone-free school policy has nothing to do with the parenting atmosphere. I just want to be clear on that. We can all have our own opinions on parenting, but really what it's about is creating the best learning environment within the 7 hours of the school day. And also, it's nobody's opinion, it's research. And so if anyone wants a book, please take one. You don't have to check it out, just grab one and go. I just feel that we have an obligation to best practice, and we have a responsibility to our students. When we know better, we do better. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ashley.
Okay, thanks, Ashley. All right, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes.
I motion to approve the minutes
You have Stu says.
from April 7th and May 8th.
Matt, could I get a second from you?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Recognitions and commendations
Yeah,
today?
class of 2025.
Yeah.
So
Came quick.
graduation, graduation Sunday, 1 o'clock sharp, followed by a gathering at the Wilson. Certainly all trustees and soon-to-be seated trustees welcome to attend and participate to sitting with the faculty. So just let us know. We'll be staging right near Brian's closest room at 10 to 1.
Perfect. Move on to superintendent report, please.
Yeah, so I handed that out. You have it in front of you. I'll be really brief. So anticipated enrollment, right? We're now talking about anticipated enrollment instead of actual enrollment. So we hope to be up at this particular point. We're +8 across the 4K-12. Housing, the current project, we're still kind of in a disagreement with the HOA regarding some interpretation of the covenants. And we've got somebody working on that, but we're definitely gonna experience a delay. I wish it wasn't the case, but the funding's still in place, and I've spoken to the funding partners. They're fine with staying exactly how it is until we're ready to launch. So I'll keep you posted on that. We are gonna we do have a need for some units in the fall. So we'll kind of work through that. Our units are all spoken for. But if you remember a couple years ago, we were able to get some cheaper units in the town that we were able to rent and then in turn rent back to our employees. I'm working with those partners right now, and I think we're gonna be able to come up with something. We shouldn't need a ton, but we still have a small need. This summer, just regular routine, there's gonna be some new carpeting at Lone Peak High School. If you read through kind of the things like how many of the bills going through the legislature this year about how can we get more money into facilities, we're really lucky at this particular point that our facilities are all pretty new. And then lastly, as of now, from a recruiting standpoint, knock on wood, we don't have any significant openings that we know about.
Are we waiting to hear back from anyone
I
still?
think the 27th is the day contracts are due.
Because we had two.
What, 4 or 5 outstanding?
Yeah,
No,
there's still a
it's
few
fine.
outstanding, but
Yeah,
by and large, we think we're
yeah,
in good shape.
good, okay, perfect, great, thanks, Dustin. Dr. Mitchum?
Right. I will start by just saying thank you to our parents for a very special Staff Appreciation Week at the beginning of May. The food was healthy, but I think we still managed to put weight on because it was so good. So thank you. Academics, seniors have wrapped up their finals and their grade reports went out yesterday, and so we're getting ready for graduation on Sunday. And then the other high school students will have their exams the first week of June. We finished map testing 6/10 this week, and then we'll do our data dive next week to kind of see our growth for the year. Last week was very busy. We had the high school art show with the a cappella group and the Theory of Knowledge students put on an incredible display of work and music. And so congrats to Mr. Zirkle, Ms. Riley, Mr. Sullivan, and our students. It was really a special event. 2 weeks ago, we had our Group 4 Collaborative Science Project that all grade 11 students do, and they do independent research and then present their findings to the whole high school in the STEAM wing. And that was really awesome. Thank you, Dr. Isley, Mr. Gula. And then lastly, we have begun the transition for our 5th graders coming up into 6th grade. We met yesterday with the elementary team. And then Janet and I worked with the 8th graders, I think it was last week, to help with their transition to high school. So that's great. Student life, we had our middle school spring dance on Friday. Lots of energy in the room at the end of the school year. Harbor's Hero on Sunday, and I think it was probably the biggest turnout.
One of the biggest.
One of the biggest.
Yeah.
It was huge.
That's awesome.
And the best thing about Harbor's Hero was seeing all the alumni come back and do it with us. That was really special, and to see the families and students there. And I think our record-breaking fundraiser for NHS, pretty close?
Yeah, so big shout out to everybody in the community, lots of businesses coming out, and I think we're gonna be somewhere north of $6,000 that we'll have to
Great.
donate to women or Wellness in Action once all the bills are paid, somewhere in there.
And then last
Great.
Wednesday night, we also had the Are You Smarter Than a Ninth Grader at the River House. And there was a surprise guest there. I don't know if anyone heard
Everyone
about
talked
it.
about.
And the teachers represented well academically, so that was really good.
Yeah.
And thanks to all the parents who came out. And then our biggest event, obviously, we've got graduation on Sunday, the Kids Know Party on May 30th. Thank you for hosting that. OMS Field Day on June 4th, and then grade 8 promotion on June 5th. So that'll be it.
Just when we think it's tapering, it's
I know,
still
there's still a
full
lot.
steam
Big
ahead.
push.
Yeah, exactly. Great, thank you, Dr. Mitchell. Move on to the elementary school principal report. Brittany, please.
Yes, so we had a cohort of 6 teachers complete their online in-person training in letters, which is a really big accomplishment. That constitute about 50 hours of learning, and that's one prong of 3 that they've completed, but big celebration for them. We're wrapping up end of year testing this week. We have MAP testing, mass testing, DESA, Acadians, Early Bird, and it should all be done by Friday, so that's great. We kind of filtered through all of that, and we'll be meeting with individual teachers on the 3rd to just celebrate the learning and growth that happened in the classrooms. Lots of practice for the end of year spring performance, which is next Friday. If you can mark your calendars, you should come. It's gonna be entertaining, and I feel like the audience will probably sing along to a lot of the songs, because they will be familiar. 5th grade is finalizing their exhibition projects, which is the culmination of their PYP experience. And they'll be hosting those the last week of school. It's a lot of time and effort that's put in. They have mentors throughout the building that are working with them on their research, and they're all gonna have an action piece this year, which is new, something new that Ms. Campa included and will be really great. So they have something that they're gonna accomplish along with that. Our math committee has been wrapping up a year of digging through math curriculum. They're gonna come out with a recommendation for a pilot next year that will be opt-in, so teachers don't have to do it. They can try a new curriculum next year just to see how it goes. And then we had a couple shifts with 4K kiddos, so we're gonna be able to accept everybody who wanted a place next year, which is really exciting. We didn't want to turn anyone away.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to recognize Tristan Clack, who came on for a short period of time. She's worked as an aide and she's gonna leave. She's gonna go back to college. We'd like to keep her here, but she's been a great infusion of joy in our building, and the kids love her, and it's been really great connecting
That is awesome.
with her. And I taught her in 2nd grade, so
I was
it's
gonna
always
say,
fun to see those
Yeah,
full circle
yeah.
moments, right?
Yeah, that'd be great if she could stay. right?
I know, I tried, but she's going back to college, so.
Understandable.
Yep.
Yeah, great, thanks Brittany.
Yeah.
Mr. Hannes, activities, please.
Yes, thank you. So back in April, we officially hosted our first track meet. We had the 5B middle school meet along with a couple of old 12C schools that attended. We had a total of 8, and it went really, really well. We got a lot of really great feedback from parents and coaches, both on things we could tweak to make it better for next year, but also just a lot of great compliments on our facility and a lot of the kids setting PRs because it's one of the only times the middle schoolers run on an actual track. So it was a really fun deal to be a part of.
Yeah, great that we could get it out, like I said, finally use it for.
Absolutely.
which is
Yeah, the weather finally
amazing.
cooperated for us. Yeah. So just wanted to give an update on our postseason spring sports. I wanted to congratulate the baseball team and Coach Morris, Rothing, Johnson, and McGuire on a great season. They did come up a little short of the playoffs this year, but I mean, this is the third year we've been in this where we've playing both AA and Class A schools. So for us to go out as an enrollment of 113 kids and compete and beat some of these schools
I say there were some good games.
is pretty impressive. And so I think that I'm really going to push, and I'm hoping more teams join for next year so that we can get a 2 classification tournament where AA is competing for their state title and the A and Bs are competing for theirs, because if you look at our record and take out some of the AA's, it looks quite a bit different. So great job, baseball. The golf team had an awesome postseason. We secured the divisional championship down in Billings. Dylan Monka took first place overall. Olivia Kaminyas took 5th. Maddie Wilzinski took 7th. And then up at state, we took 3rd place just by 2 strokes behind Shelby, which was their home course. So, we were right there. And then Dylan placed 4th there, Olivia placed 9th, and Maddie placed 12th. So we had 3 people medal at the divisional and as well as the state tournament.
Great.
Tennis. Libby, correct me if I'm anything wrong here, but they had a great showing at divisionals as well. Libby Coltea and Addie Malinowski took 2nd in doubles. Rowan Mitchell and Poppy Toll took 5th. Catherine Coltea placed 3rd in singles, and those doubles teams will be competing at state. Is Catherine going to state as well for singles? That's awesome. That's a lot of representation from our little tennis program. Coach Gray does very nice work.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And finally, track and field with Coach Toy. We qualified 8 for divisionals down in Laurel. And from there, 4 of those athletes qualified for state in multiple events. Lola Morris, Harper Morris, Ursula Blythe, and Haley Hodge will be heading to Missoula to compete at the state meet.
Awesome.
And I think that's it.
When are those state meets? When's tennis?
Tennis heads out tomorrow. Theirs is Thursday, Friday. And then state track is Friday, Saturday. So they'll head on Thursday.
Great.
Yeah.
Best of luck to
It
them.
was a good thing we changed the
I was
graduation.
gonna say.
Yes.
It worked.
Yep.
Yeah. Great, awesome, thanks, Mr. Hannes.
You bet.
Corky, business report, your
So,
final.
This is it, yeah. So you can see the fiscal year 25 budget funds it's in the packet. And happy to say that we were on target back to our August meeting last year.
Okay.
We're gonna end up using roughly $500,000 of our House Bill $408. So based on what we brought in January, it was an extra, there's a difference of $100,000 that will be saved, so good.
Great.
Fiscal year 26 is gonna be interesting, with House Bill 408, with the House Bill 846 that just passed, with some donations that have come in from Spanish Peaks and PTO, as well as the general fund levy that just passed. I mean, the school district will be in good shape. Enrollment's going up, so hopefully that starts to pull back up our 3-year average. So the general fund should be okay going forward.
Sure you don't want to stick around?
It's gonna get so much easier.
Yeah, it's gonna be really easy stuff. So that's it.
Great, well, thanks again, Corky, and thanks again for all your time with us. We truly appreciate it.
He's not done yet.
I know, but still, make it official.
And then also, Brett, we can just add, so as soon as we have the budget committee kind of reestablished after later today,
Yeah.
we can have a quick meeting, because when we say it's gonna be okay, it means, like, we still have, like Corky listed off, $1 million almost
Yeah,
in monies that we're gonna be bringing in,
right,
in addition
Yeah.
to that.
perfect. Great, thanks, Corky, good. Move on to discussion and action items. Go ahead for motion number 1.
I motion to approve the book, How to Read Literature Like a Professor for grades 11 and 12.
Second.
And so this came from Patty Hamlin as a summer read for students, 11, rising 12. I put a synopsis in your packet. It's a good idea.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
no, pretty deep. Does it really look pretty good?
I mean, I'll probably Yeah. Any questions at all? Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
This second item is just for your information only. Montana School Boards, because we'll be renewing with them shortly. So they sent this out as a, asking us to share this with trustees across the state. Because really, we've been members of MTSBA for a long time. And as you know, Kara was on the board of MTSBA. This particular session, they delivered.
Yeah, they really did.
Not just for our community, but across the state, they really delivered. So I think they're kind of sent this out as just as a reminder of the services that they provide for us, but also as kind of their own pat on their back, like they feel really good about the session too.
Yeah.
So, I would answer any questions. And just as an FYI for the trustees who will be seated, you'll receive all sign-up information to join the School Boards Association today.
And it is good. We do encourage it. It's definitely worth being part of, so. Great, okay, move on to the next item, please.
I
Number 3.
move to approve the contract with Toddle as presented.
I think you said second, right?
Did you say second?
Second.
Thanks.
So I put the invoice in the packet to student learning management system that could replace management. There's an increase in the cost, actually, I put slight, but it's about twice as much. But it has better features and more user interface. So the principals had a training with the faculty, and you guys can speak to the feedback if needed, but it was pretty positive and supportive of a change.
Was there a problem with Management, or is it just something, it's time to get a change, or something
Ricky
better?
came to me and said,
Get
there's
rid of
this
it?
new program, and I was like, no. I'm doing a new program, and then I sat there and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's
Yeah,
incredible.
it's pitch back.
It really will transform the experience for the kids and enhance our teaching practice.
Now, I just learned Management myself from here.
Yes, well,
Okay.
so Title was created by teachers for the field of education, and their goal is to give educators back 10 hours a week.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
nice.
saw that.
With the efficiency, I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Is there a transition period that we're gonna have
Oh,
manage back in place for a
No,
while?
they talk to each other and they'll migrate everything
Oh,
from
that's
Manage
cool.
back
Oh,
into Title.
Like an iPhone.
Yeah.
It sounds too good to be true.
That's
I know, I
amazing.
We'll see.
Now wait, what is Ladonka?
She does Infinite Campus.
More just keeps going up.
Yeah.
That's
Great,
great.
well, yeah, I'm glad you guys found something
Yeah,
that'll
that's
make
awesome.
life easier, so that's fantastic. Call for a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
I motion to approve the Ophir Elementary School handbook as presented.
Second.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, so Brittany put this together, I don't think there really were any
No major
changes.
So,
I mean, the only thing might be lunch prices.
No, we figured that all out.
Perfect, so they're saying,
Okay.
yeah.
great, awesome. Call for a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
I motion to approve the 25-26 classified matrix as presented.
Second.
Courtney can speak to this too. So we revised this, we've been trying to revise it for the last few years, so it was really more accurate to what we were doing. So it's step raises of 5%, which is up from 2.5%, which the steps were previously. And it doesn't necessarily always work on the same principle as the certified matrix. You get 1 for 1, right? You give 1, you get 1 on the, we have more flexibility in this to go 2 or 1.
Okay.
Yeah, we were able to use keep the 10% COLA within that, so because of the matrix complexity, we can do 1 year. We'll have to go back and look at
Okay.
going forward, but it gets everybody placed for fiscal year 26.
Do they have negotiations?
They don't, no, it's not an association. And we have 17 classified employees, including bus drivers,
Oh, more than that.
more than that.
I was gonna say close to almost 30 when you go cleaning crew,
Oh,
kitchen, food services. Yeah, it's a lot.
Goes up, yeah. Okay, great, thank you. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I was actually gonna ask a question.
Oh, sorry, Matt.
Sure.
That's all right. Corky or Dustin, is it an automatic step raise or is there, report raises based on performance or productivity or any of that, or is it just?
Those that are contained in here are automatic, at least one, sometimes two. That's what it's been in the past.
Is there still room for performance-based raises and that sort of thing, or individualized raises?
Generally with the administration, and that's existing classified.
Sorry, I didn't understand yes or no on the performance-based raises.
Not, so if you're talking about, like, we could say there could be the potential for performance-based additional steps, but not outside of what this matrix kind of determines for the classified folks.
I gotcha.
So
the only way the
we
classified
don't
folks.
individually negotiate every single contract.
I gotcha. Is there any flexibility for that for the classified folks?
I mean, there's flexibility. We feel like this year's increase, because it would have been 7.5 off of what they were last year, resonates just about where the average was for the certified staff as well. So that's what the contracts are. We'll go out tomorrow, and then from there, we'll chat with folks.
We actually rolled the 10% COLA into the hourly rate and then increased it another 5%.
And after the step that they had coming.
Yeah, so
It's a pretty good move for everybody.
Okay.
very good move for everybody. The only adjustments that we looked at where someone might have received a second step was to make sure that positions were aligned, so that custodians were aligned with other custodians, bus drivers were aligned with other bus drivers. We were not doing it as a performance base. Everybody got a step.
Okay, so their step was actually 7.5% this year, or not
Well, I mean,
or not
if you roll,
5%?
it depends. I mean, if you roll COLA in there also, it's another 10% because that was an optional piece that was separate to the classified contract. So we included the 10%. We gave them the step of roughly 2.5, then added the 10% COLA, and then gave 5% on that. So the raise is on an hourly base. I mean, it was substantial.
Okay, all right, that's helpful to understand.
Are they all hourly employees? Or
All that are represented here,
Classified.
all but one.
Yeah, all at once. And we pay her as a daily, really more so.
Yeah, it's more of a daily, but it's kind of it's more of a salary type
Yeah.
position.
Any other questions? I'll recall for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is the policy 3630. This is just a discussion item that we're getting going at this point, right? Talking about our 3 options that we listed in the packet. Do we need to go over those?
Yeah, I mean, I
Or do we
think
discuss
it might
them
just be a
real
good
quick?
place to kind of ground everybody.
Yeah. So this is the baseline, this is where we're starting.
Yeah, this is where we're starting, and
To move
I have some
forward.
suggestions possibly how we can move forward and then kind of see what we want to do next. So this isn't a meeting to consider 3630 for change or for anything else, right? So we have 3 options, right? Option 1, these are in the packet. They can use, they say cell phones, pagers, and other electronic signaling devices. Does anybody use a pager anymore?
I thought you did.
Andrew?
Can't get rid of it, Doug.
So this is kind of like the no rules, no nothing, just
Yeah.
say you can use them, just don't be in violation of board policy. Option 2 is probably closer to what we have currently, and I think this is probably the language that we have currently. Kind of before school, in between classes, lunch times, things like that, just not in class, and if they do use them in class, then they have, they have to have parent or teacher permission.
Yeah.
And then a little bit about, we're gonna confiscate your phone. And then the last one is kind of what we've been talking about, or what we heard during public comment, and that's, they can't use them at all, at any time. Building administrators have the permission. Now, again, we don't have to pick one of these, we can add or subtract whatever we want. So those are the three. And I guess we have to rewind to September probably, when Gianforte sent out the letter. This was kind of the first week we started thinking or talking about it, or even thinking very deeply about it. And then there was a couple bills. There was one bill that had some money attached to it, that was gonna be for schools that had cell phone free policies. That money got dried up. I think Deb, from the Tuchman Foundation, would be willing to help with any resources that we need as far as money goes. So is what we need to decide kind of as a board, and it can be kicked to a committee too that we can establish in the second half of this meeting. Where are people at? I think we know where the faculty's at. There's a letter in your packet from faculty, I think was signed by 22 people. Kate, am I
21
right?
or 22, and there's some people like, oh, I didn't sign my
Yeah.
name after I sent it to you. I would say it's
More.
So probably more along the
unanimous.
line of 25, and we can probably count another 10 who kind of looked at it and went, oh, I want to sign that, and they just didn't do it. So I think there's some pretty good buy-in from faculty. And I think we'll see that there's good buy-in from parents too. But that's probably what has to happen next, or what would need to happen next, is to gather some data around this. And again, it can get kicked to a committee, a very small committee, because this is gonna have to be a quick process if we make any changes. So we have a summer to think about that. So I guess right now, I would just kind of want to get a barometer on where the trustees, at least the currently seated trustees, where are you feeling, where are you landing after what we've heard and kind of what we've seen throughout the year.
Any comments?
I personally, all for bell to bell. I worry about throwing the responsibility on teachers to enforce it. I would like to see it top down and not, so the teachers do not have to worry about it. I don't know how to do that, but I think that's what we need to figure out, is how to do that.
Yeah, Matt, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm fine taking away phones.
I somehow knew you would be.
Yeah.
No, and I think it's great. I'm all for it. The more research we've done and looked at different studies and hear all the feedback from different places and schools, and to have all the faculty on board, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I have a freshman. I deal with it at home all the time. I deal with it at school too. So I'm all for it. And I think just the distractions, getting it out of their hands, not having teachers have to deal with it all the time, just out as you walk in the door, they're gone. You get back at the end of the day, it's going to solve so many problems, alleviate, I think, 1,000 different issues.
So many.
So I'm excited that this is moving forward, and I'm happy to be, as like you said, we'll talk about this committee later, but moving that forward and pushing it through and getting it, out to the parents, see what their feedback's going to be, which I think will be very interesting, and then moving forward with it so that we have this kind of done and out of the way before school year starts.
Yeah, that's, I think, what
So-
stopped us last year, is it was just school had already started and
Yeah, and I think,
And moving forward and starting is, I think, going to be.
Yeah, certainly it was late, and I also think, to your comment, Danielle, I think the model is your phone comes into the school and then it's not in your possession.
Yeah.
And that's almost the only way it can work.
Yeah. I don't think there's any other way we could do it.
Yeah, and then there will be places, I think, again, that foundation could possibly help us.
Come up with our ideas and what we do moving forward, and we can get everybody kind of involved in their opinions, and then.
I know there'll be a message issue, like parents wanting to get messages to their kids, so that'll be something that we'll have to establish a real clear policy so that Anita's not
Getting 1,000 phone
totally,
calls.
yeah, like all she's doing is
Yeah.
transferring messages.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, being something, but I would just add this, that, at the elementary level, that's the only way to get a message to your kid,
Yeah.
is to call the front office.
And it works.
And a lot of times it's messages that don't need to get to the kid, like, hey, soccer practice is rained out.
Right.
High school kid, they're on their own, right?
Yeah.
They can manage that on
Yeah.
their own, but I agree with you that we need to move quickly, but I also think we need to move thoughtfully.
Yeah. Have it all problem solved before we.
Yeah.
Exactly. Roll it out. Yeah,
Front load it.
and get all the data, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we'll kind of see if that's something to add at the
Yeah.
And then
next section
Dustin,
here.
so yeah, just to add really quickly, I think forming a really clear policy, because I pulled up the handbook for 2021-22 school year, and then this past school year, and it only got more ambiguous
Yeah.
in our handbook. And so just being really clear when we develop this committee, just being so
Yeah.
explicit
Yeah.
in the handbook, and
I
it'll be
think we
growing
need
pains.
thanks, Ashley. We'll have a very clear policy, especially if you go with no, right, it doesn't get any clearer.
Yeah.
And over there, and what the book says and what the reality is of kids who've left the school and gone to places, all of the other programs, the semester schools, no phones.
Yeah.
And the thing that they most like, and some of them, it's the thing they miss the most. And I wrote 3 of them and said, what do you think? And they said, well, it has to be everyone, and it's not.
Yeah.
And if it's everyone, then everyone's fine.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they say, one of them
Yeah.
said, what about listening to music? And I said, okay, when you listen to
Yeah.
music, do you ever change the channel? And she was like, well, actually, yeah, I do all the time. So you're right, it's a distraction.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're on for the committee.
I'll be on that.
Yeah.
one.
Right. Yeah, I
I'll
think-
take it.
I think we're all on board, and I think it's fantastic, so I think this is gonna be a good decision moving forward. So, and thank you, everybody, for coming and talking and getting all the signatures and everything, so we appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to number 7, please.
I recommend the motion to approve the resolution to request Gallatin County to conduct elections as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Matt.
So this is every May, you're resolving to give Gallatin County the permission to do our elections here next year.
Call for a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. All right.
I motion to move to certify the election results as presented. And I think this is where we.
No, we need to just certify them.
You
Okay.
got a second, Matt?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, I didn't hear you. Sorry, thank you. Any discussion on that?
I mean,
Just
not
go
really,
over our
right, it was
results.
interesting, the levy fell exactly where they always fall,
Yeah.
45, 55, it's either for or against. But I did hear that it was a record voter turnout, so that's good.
Which is interesting, because.
Because it's still only less than half.
The number of registered voters keeps going down.
Yeah.
So the number of registered voters keeps going down, but
Yeah.
but the turnout was better.
More
It's good.
engaged.
Yeah, more
Yeah,
engaged.
which is great, yeah. And we're still holding steady, so that's awesome.
Yeah, so there's 2,800 registered voters,
And we had
1140 voted.
So, great. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Certified.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
I move to adopt the
Consent
agenda as presented.
Second.
Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Okay, at this point, we are going to swear in our new trustees. And John Nielsen could not be here, so Libby will take that responsibility, please.
Yes, I'll come over here to say I have power vested in
Yeah.
But
hopefully I tried to break it up a little bit, but I think we do one at a time.
One at a time.
Yeah, one at a
We can say it together.
What got up? Bees before all.
Okay, so this is just the oath of office. I do solemnly affirm
I do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the United States and Montana constitutions.
the United States and Montana constitutions.
I will faithfully execute the duties of office with fidelity
I will faithfully execute the duties of office with fidelity
and regard the best interests of the students
and regard the best interests of the students
and their education in all decisions.
and education in all decisions.
Can we applaud her?
Then you get to take a seat.
Okay, Barbara. I do solemnly affirm
I do solemnly affirm
that I will support
Officially,
and
thank you so
defend
that I will support and defend
the United States and Montana Constitution.
the United States and Montana constitutions.
I will faithfully execute the the duties of office with fidelity
I will faithfully execute the duty of office with fidelity
and regard the best interest of the students
and regard the best interest of the students
and their education in all decisions.
and their education in all decisions.
Okay.
It was a little awkward. It was a lot of work. Tester was still in office,
Okay, so now we'll move forward
So let's borrow that.
with restructuring of the board.
I motion to keep the structure of the board as presented, so Matt Jennings remains the chair and Matt Dodd remains
one
the
at a
vice
time, or-
chair.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
and I just wanna make it clear, I was just putting in here who currently is.
Yeah.
I would make a motion more along the lines of, I move that we elect Matt Jennings. as
Okay,
chair.
I move that we elect Matt Jennings as board chair. I'll second that.
Do I need to vote for that, or we just?
You can, yeah, there needs to be
You need
a
to
call for
vote.
everybody.
Great,
Yes.
okay. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate that.
I motion to elect Matt Dodd as vice chair. I'll second that.
Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Thanks, Matt. And then
And then, I don't,
with Libby, do I,
Appoint.
You should vote to appoint,
okay. So I need to vote to appoint?
move to appoint.
Move to appoint, okay. So I will move to appoint Libby Grabo as our new district clerk. We need a second?
Second.
Thank you. Call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously.
Does she have to be sworn in too, right?
She does
You
not.
also swear
No,
people
she's
in?
okay. She does not have to be sworn in.
Thanks, Libby. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go through some of our committees now and just fill in some of the blanks left. Yeah, Carol's on a lot, so.
She was on, yeah.
So we'll start with personnel. Danielle's on that currently,
Yeah.
and we need one
I would
more.
like to remain on that.
Okay, perfect.
Anyone wanna join me?
Yeah, so personnel, do you want to kind of,
So it's more like, we did teacher negotiations and like,
Any new job descriptions will come to committee, any kind of restructuring, like, the business office will come to that committee to make recommendations here. It's a good one.
it's good, it's not you're a people person. Like, I'm not gonna be on the budget committee, so.
You wanna give that one a shot?
Sure.
Okay. Go with Betsy on that one. And then budget is currently Matt, and it was Kara, so we have one person there.
And like I said, that is not me.
And this
That is
one
not my strong.
has in the past been relatively active. And probably I see at least unfolding over the course of the next 6 months being quite active and kind of the budget committee acting in a pretty important role with boundary relocations and things like that.
Should that be you?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm happy
I
to
think that
take
should
that
be you.
role,
I think
I
it should
think
be
we
the
talked
chair.
about that earlier, so. Me. Safety is next, that's myself and was Kara too.
And that one's fine if you wanna just leave one on it, so
Yeah,
this
it's
is a
pretty
quarterly
low-key.
meeting with Matt Doherty and a small parent group and admin.
Yeah, that was pretty simple. All right, policy, Matt, are you still good with policy?
Would you wanna get off?
That's
of
fine.
The budget?
Would you be?
I would be
in it?
interested in that
Okay,
committee.
I would swap you for that for sure.
That's words, the others numbers.
I mean, I've read a lot of policy. So,
So yeah, that's gonna get
that's coming on.
pretty heavy here once all the bills are signed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great. Transportation, that's not very active, that's pretty quiet. Matt, are you good with that? We'll just leave that the same.
That's fine.
Strategic plan, we haven't not,
So that was
So
to
that's-
be, if we were to have a significant process, which we didn't end up doing
Yeah.
in the last year. And that should be who it is anyway, so we should leave that the same.
Yeah,
It
that
would
was
stay the
full
full
board,
board
yeah.
when we do it.
Yeah, and then we just have to notice it.
okay, then we do building
Consistent.
facilities, which has been suspended, we're doing good there.
Mhm.
Housing, so
Not active.
are we gonna do any housing with that? I mean, we're kind of waiting to hear.
We're just
How
kind
that
of
goes.
waiting, I mean, it was Kara and Seth and that really
Yeah.
just, I was just kind of keeping them posted. When we started to launch, that was, right, they helped me with the grants.
Yeah,
We made sure, they helped with the selection.
yeah. Should we reassign anybody at this point,
I
or?
mean, at this point, cause they're both gone now, aren't they?
Yeah, just so
I
in
mean,
case
one
we get,
person wouldn't be bad to have just as to assist us.
right,
Do you wanna do it? You did it before too, for
Yeah. yeah, for the other ones.
unless somebody else is interested in into covenant
Anybody really
conversations.
passionate about
No.
housing governance?
Oh, is it, but is it in, where is it at? That you're looking?
Here on
Oh,
campus.
it's here, okay.
Yeah.
I'm on the BSO,
Primarily.
I'm on the BSO,
I was
so
gonna
there
say,
could
so
be
you're already
some,
there, yeah.
there could be some, but they're not on the BSO.
No
Yeah.
conflict.
Okay, so you
More
already do that,
important.
okay. And then negotiation,
I can do that.
This is good.
I wanna stay on that,
Yeah, so that
that's a
would be
good
you
one.
too, cause we will have we'll do something
that'll
next
be
year.
kind of similar to personality.
Yeah,
so
cause
that's
we
good.
started, we're gonna have to rework the matrix, the
Okay.
paid matrix.
Then legislature, I'm happy to join that one. After this last session, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
So I'd like to continue on with that and maybe follow Kara's footsteps to
Yeah, she was great.
SBA, so I'm happy to do that. Matt, are you okay with that one still?
Yep, that's fine, thanks.
And then I would jump off communications if anyone wants to grab
I might have some
Yes,
skill
I
in
think you should be on
communicating.
that.
Yeah,
We really hadn't, we
we didn't do a whole lot.
We didn't do a lot, cause we thought we would have a lot more to communicate about the levy, but it was
Yeah.
because of,
So
went
it's,
pretty
the pressure was taken on.
yeah, no.
But it
Just
can
getting
change.
the voice out there and
Yeah.
letting people know what's going on.
You know what your bio says? You have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Don't tell Linda that you saw that. She bugs me all the time and every time I'm like, oh, fine, I'll get that to you.
It's just like, I looked at it, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's,
There.
That was a glitch, yeah, the new one's there. I don't know. And then last is PR committee.
I'm on that
That's just Danielle
committee.
right now.
I will stay on it and I will be better.
We're happy to have you.
I've had a
Do we need anybody else on?
poor at
Okay.
it. making the
What does that
think-
do, Mark?
They just,
Sorry, Danielle, it's to kind of helps set up the year, some professional development and stuff. And the more trustees we get on, the bigger that group has to get, because according to the accreditation standards, it's gotta be a majority of faculty.
So we just leave that as a single.
So you leave it,
prefer you did.
but it ties with personnel and negotiations.
yeah, and
Yeah,
they,
to be
but I
honest,
mean,
yeah.
it's run. Yeah, I just
Okay.
have to be on it.
And I would love to be
And then-
on the phone committee.
Yeah,
Okay, so we talked about,
that should be communication.
Well, that would be some
Yeah,
communication.
because you are gonna.
Yeah.
do we want to lump that under communications? or-
No, I think it's,
No,
I
because
think
we
it's its
probably
own
need
thing,
to
is you have
add
to
some
make
people
the
outside
policy.
of trustees.
Yeah.
And you
So
have to
do we
make
wanna-
it a policy, it
Yeah.
has to be made a policy, so
Yeah.
it goes.
And I think there should be teachers on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, well,
So we can
on there.
we should do this right now then.
Yeah, and what do we want to name that?
Phones.
Phone,
Well, it's cell phone policy or electronics, because they always
electronics.
They always go to like, when you see their policies that the Kuchin and the
Yeah.
other ones put forward, the other foundations, they always say like, also Walkman, or not Walkman, my God. Does anyone even know what it was? But I was making a joke, it came up because we were talking about, imagine if remember when the Walk TV things first came out? And I was talking with Marlo and I was like, imagine like if people would have just brought a TV to school.
Right.
Everyone would have been like, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
But now they bring TV to school every day.
Yeah.
But it is like all the music, all of the things, and Bluetooth watches,
Watches.
watches,
Oh,
no
yeah.
glasses.
No.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, are we going to, the AI, does that deserve a committee? Or is that gonna be handled by teachers or? AI, I guess that would be in policy, but that's the next big
Yeah.
thing, right?
Probably.
So maybe can we back up and get the electronics
Yeah.
committee set first?
We'll do electronics.
So we have Barbara,
I'll be
Danielle,
on it, yeah.
somebody from admin, and we'll decide.
I think we're all, I will help with that,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just needed to.
And maybe one teacher.
Probably Ashley would really want
Would
to.
you? Okay.
Yeah, I would do it, but I think Ashley,
I
she
think
really wants to be on it.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a lot of teachers that volunteer for it.
Vanessa
Ashley
too,
is-
she's, yeah.
I might recommend Anita, because she'll also have.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
But I think your point, that was a really good point, that the element, we survived.
We all went to school and there were no cell phones.
Yeah, we got all the messages we needed to.
Yeah.
We
They can
contacted
still
all of them.
email their children.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah, exactly, that's
Their
true.
personal email will go through to their.
To their computer stuff.
School email.
It will.
Use the
Only.
school email.
We block all Gmail, all email.
Yeah, school email.
No, but a parent can send to their.
To their students, it's their school email, yeah.
Justin, can we put a kid,
Like a student
a student
representative.
representative?
Sure.
And that brings up, many years ago, the board did have a student representative to the board,
Mm-hmm.
which is a nice experience for a good,
Sure, we can do that. I just want to caution against making this too big and too many people, because
Yeah.
we want to move very, very quickly.
I
So-
want to move as quickly as
So
possible.
we need to find a student, then somebody needs to talk to that kid with it by the end of the week,
Okay.
Yeah.
right? So you will say, the board can say like,
Involuntary
student,
Can I just,
and
no,
then
but
meetings, we got 9 days of school left after this week,
Then they're gonna be.
right?
Yeah.
So
Would have to be
we
somebody
might want to have a
engaged.
special meeting before our June meeting, these policies need to be read twice,
Yeah,
right.
right? So this is
yeah.
whoever the admin is, I'm happy to do it. But we're gonna be
Moving quickly.
Yes,
very,
for
If they're
sure.
around, yeah.
My point being, if we got an influential student, it would also help with the message to the students,
Yeah,
potentially.
potentially.
I was gonna say that could go the opposite way too.
Could go the opposite way.
So-
Maybe they shouldn't be on it, maybe they're on.
I mean, I think, like,
Yeah, I think-
if I'm gonna be on this committee, I think one of the first things needed to just be, really, I don't think it needs to, I don't think this needs to grow into anything more than, it can be very lean.
Focus.
Survey to the parents, survey to the kids, surveys to the faculty, here's the data, let's make a decision.
It's our
So
policy
is that-
decision, we'll move forward with the
So you
policy.
would say use surveys?
Well, we at least want to get some feedback, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying, going to your
I don't
point,
think that,
to your point, if
not
they all
to use
come
to
in.
make the ultimate decision.
Okay, thank you.
No, just to get the feel so that people have an inclusion.
Let them-
Yeah.
So that we have it out there to get
Yeah.
everybody's voice heard.
Yeah.
So,
Because I know there's some.
Okay.
perfect.
And then, right, these are just committees that have kind of been historical. Are there any others that
Oh, we were
at this
talking
particular moment that could become,
like an academic type committee, I mean, we were talking about looking at different things.
Well, I think we should think about if you, can there be other, I mean, is this the only time that you make a committee?
no, we
So,
can do it whenever.
I think as the new board is together and they we have
discuss it.
conversations, but I think that would logically come from a strategic planning place
Okay.
where I think I would love to know what the goals are of the administration, of the other board members, of the faculty for the school, and then figure out the
from
committees to
there.
do the work.
Perfect, okay. That sound good? Everybody?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay,
So our meeting times have generally been the second Tuesday of every month at 3:45. There's always a Zoom option. That's not set in stone, but that's what
Is that
we've
okay to-
traditionally done.
keep
Yeah.
work for everybody?
Big Sky Broadway Junior, I'm here.
Okay, perfect.
So next meeting, June 10th.
June 10th.
Can we get the summer on the schedule, including August?
Do you have the date?
You want to set July 2?
July is up to the board. August 12th is the Tuesday. That provides the opportunity to get things wrapped up by the 15th. That would be the budget, the annual budget meeting.
I know I'm not available then.
Can't
Yeah,
go that week at all.
August 12th.
Even distance? Oh, from Armenia?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do we,
We could do
the
it,
week before?
Matt, what does your
The week
August
before is not good for me.
second week look like, 12th in particular?
I'm out of state
August 12th?
that whole week. So if it comes, if I have to, I can be available via Zoom.
you here, available.
The 12th, yes, but the week before I will be in the backcountry.
The week before is not practical. We won't even get our
The numbers
tax,
from the
we
county.
won't get our taxable value from the Department of Revenue until middle of next week.
Does the,
That week.
the following week work or is that too close? Cause then everyone's back for like sport or
We have
like,
to-
Oh, I have to have it by the
has
15th.
to return to the state by the 15th.
I'm here.
Barbara?
I can be.
So we can get, if we
So we can
get
get three and Matt
Maybe
Dodd
Matt.
has a,
Yeah,
I can try.
and we'll just make sure, Matt, to have a significant budget meeting with all materials available
right.
prior to that.
budget.
And that's the trustee's financial statement too, summary.
Oh, back to you now.
And then July, we'll just go everything like the 8th, that's the second Tuesday, is that too early?
I mean, the early one really is gonna be the 10th, that's gonna come up quick. But no, I don't think so, because again, right, if we're gonna have any significant policy changes around electronic devices, it needs to be read twice.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at, yeah, June
So
the
is your goal to have that before this next scheduled meeting be when we read the policy?
Yeah, I mean, we could read it once,
First read.
even as a special meeting,
First read is a special and yes.
and then the
Uh-huh.
second one, June 10th. Depending
That'd be
again how
awesome.
quickly we can move.
I think
but
there's so much, I
we
think
could
we
do
can move
first and then
very quickly.
June 10th, so
Yeah.
we'll decide who's gonna be on this from an admin perspective, and then there'll be an email coming out to you.
So we don't need to set July right now.
I mean, so we can set it as the 8th and then kind of
See how it goes.
TBD.
Okay, so let's do that, so
July.
June 10th, July 8th, August 12th. Okay, anything else?
That's good for me.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.